Defensive Player of the Year, James Harrison, the play at the end of the first half, but that's not the play that anybody's talking about at the end of Super Bowl 43. Hey, how are you, folks? Jason Horowitz, Clark Judge, and Pete Prisco. Glad to be with you here on the field of Raymond James Stadium. Steelers 27, Cardinals 23. And Clark, obviously the turning point, at least of the first half, and maybe of the game, was Harrison's 100-yard touchdown return, longest play ever in Super Bowl history.
Right.
But when you look at the end of the game and what Ben Roethlisberger did to bring this team back, does it even surprise you anymore?
No, it doesn't. And listening to Hines Ward after the game, he was talking about how this solidifies his performance as one of the great quarterbacks in the game. And I think he's right. I mean, it's early in his career, but he already has 2 Super Bowls. He's been to the playoffs 4 times. You know, he's been to the conference championship 3 times. He's got a great record of success. But look what happens when the game is on the line again and again this year. Baltimore, San Diego, Jacksonville. He makes the plays. And as Hines Ward said, it's kind of Joe Montana-ish. I won't go that far, not yet. But he's on his way.
What did the guys say about the fourth quarter and giving up that 13-point lead?
Well, I think they were astounded because this is a team that protects leads, and they're used to doing that. I think they fell into a little bit of a funk offensively, and suddenly, before they knew it, Arizona woke up. Larry Fitzgerald's back in the game, and they're back really in familiar territory where they've got to come back. But as I said before, they've done it so many times, and Roethlisberger said, nobody panic. Nobody on the sidelines panic because we've done this, as I said many times before this year, and they felt very comfortable. He felt very comfortable. He's at his best when the game's on the line. He demonstrated again.
And his
tonight.
offensive line said after the game here that they're just used to looking around behind him and not having any idea where he is and being very comfortable with that. Pete, you were covering the Cardinals all week long, and after the game, I know you talked to Kurt Warner, Todd Haley. What did they say about the fact that the offense was dink and dunk until the fourth quarter?
They felt they had a good plan. They thought that they were going to get doubles outside, and they did, and they dump underneath Edgerrin James. But if you have Larry Fitzgerald and Anquan Bolden on your team, you have to find a way to get them the football. They went to the spread offense in the second half, hurry up, no huddle. They should have done that the entire game. I think they came in, and I said that on Friday. If they weren't true to who they were, they would lose the game. They weren't true to who they were in the first half. They almost rallied to win the game, but they needed to do it in the first half.
What about the play of the defense here by Arizona in this game?
I mean, other than the last drive, I think they played okay. I mean, the last drive, you got to put them off the field. You cannot let him drive to a touchdown. Worst case scenario, give up a field goal, go to overtime, and we have an exciting ending. You cannot give up that touchdown.
Guys, 2 straight years we've seen great finishes, and you talk about the history of the Super Bowl. That's really what it all comes down to all the time. We always talk about where do things end, where do they fit in historical times. Clark, where would you put this game in terms of, is it a classic or just a great ending?
Oh, no, it's a classic game. I mean, terrific fourth quarter. I thought a terrific game, too, because unlike last year, you had a magnificent play in the first half, and that's the Harrison touchdown. And that's one of the great plays. Dick LeBeau said he thinks it's the greatest defensive play in Super Bowl history. I wouldn't argue with him. But you also have the climactic finish, and that's what we haven't had in some Super Bowls and quite a few Super Bowls in the past. But we've had that lately, and now we're kind of getting used to, geez, the Super Bowl may be one of the best games of the year.
Clark, Pete, where would you put this game?
Well, I mean, you have 2 quarterbacks making plays to put their team ahead in the fourth quarter. I love that. I mean, it's a fantastic finish. You had a safety, they punt, they get the ball, they score, Fitzgerald gets the ball. I think it was a fantastic ending to the game. The Cardinals were a little sloppy for me to call it a great game, but I think in the end we'll look back and we'll say, hey, it was a heck of a football.
How much of that does it have to do with all the penalties and the chances they gave Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I think penalties and bad play selection and dumb penalties. I mean, just the whole thing, holding penalties in key times. I just think they didn't play that well, and yet at the end they were there to win the football game.
But you know what people are going to remember from this game? The great plays. Harrison, Fitzgerald, and at the end, Santonio Holmes. That was a magnificent catch, and that's one you'll dial up as one of the 10 greatest plays in Super Bowl history.
And when you have 3 plays that are fantastic, you call it a fantastic Super Bowl. That's it for our coverage here on CBSSports.com. We've been with you in Tampa all week long. Thanks for being with us. For Clark Judge, Pete Prisco, thank you guys very much. And I guess it's time to count down to the Combine, I guess, huh? And we'll look forward to the NFL Draft as well. For these 2 guys, I'm Jason Horowitz. Take care, folks.